Hey guys, welcome to Play Infinite. So today's September 12th, 2012, and Apple has officially announced the iPhone 5. This video is going to be a quick comparison between the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 4S, which of course was Apple's previous kind of flagship device. Of course, now they have the iPhone 5, and I'm going to be comparing many aspects of it: the processor, memory, display, storage, camera, cellular, Bluetooth, navigation, weight, dimensions, price, all sorts of things in this video. So first off, let's start off with price, because that's kind of like an important factor for most of you guys. So the iPhone 5 comes in at $199 for 16 gig, $299 for 32, and $399 for 64 gig. Of course, these are on contract prices. And the iPhone 4S comes in at $199 for 16 gig, $299 32, and $399 64. These were launch day prices. Of course, now Apple has reduced the iPhone 4S to $99 for the 16 gigabyte model, I believe. So if you want, you can take that into account, but I'm kind of just looking at launch prices here. In terms of processor, the iPhone 5 is going to come with the Apple A6 processor. The iPhone 4S has a dual-core Apple A5 processor. And in terms of memory, the iPhone 5 is going to have 1 gigs of memory, but we're not really too sure on that, but that's just kind of like an estimate. As of me making this video today on September 12th, Apple just unveiled it, so we're trying to get as many details as we possibly can. And the iPhone 4S, of course, we all know, 512 megabytes of RAM. The display on the iPhone 5 is actually one of the major enhancements or major changes, I guess you can say. It is 4 inches, so they finally bumped it up a bit, just by 0.5 inches, and it's an IPS display still, but the resolution is higher as well. It comes in at 1136 by 640. The iPhone 4S was a 3.5 inch display, IPS 960 by 640. They're both Retina displays. The iPhone 5 has a larger PPI actually, but not too much. Actually, I believe it's actually the same. I believe both of them are 326 PPI, so it's nice that Apple never like went down or anything, but they never really improved as well. But your eye really can't really distinguish once it gets higher than 330, for example, or 340. So it's nice that they kept it there. Anyway, storage is going to be 16, 32, 64 for both the phones, and camera is very similar for both the phones. Apple actually stated that in their press conference that the cameras are both 8 megapixel AF with flash. They both have an f2.4 aperture, but the iPhone 5 has a faster shutter speed. It also has panorama features, and if you do panorama mode, you can kind of get a 28 megapixel picture from that. But besides these little software things, Apple never really changed the camera. Of course, it's more thinner, and I'll cover it when I go over to the dimensions part, but the iPhone 5 is much thinner than the iPhone 4. Therefore, they had to kind of reduce the camera, the vertical, whatever, the height of the camera, so depth of the camera. So I guess you can also take that into account, but that shouldn't really affect your purchasing decision. And of course, at the end of this video, I'll kind of give you my opinion on which one you should get. I'll take into price the discounted price. I'll take into account the discounted pricing and all that type of stuff. Secondary camera, so front-facing camera, it's going to be a FaceTime HD camera on the iPhone 5. It's capable of shooting 720p, and the iPhone 4 was only VGA at 30 frames per second. Video recording on the iPhone 5 is at the rear-facing camera, 1080p at 30 frames per second, and the iPhone 4 was the exact same thing, 1080p at 30 frames per second. Cellular is another huge aspect of the iPhone 5. The iPhone 5 will have LTE support, along with all the other things such as GSM, CDMA, and stuff like that. And the iPhone 4S, as we all know, doesn't have LTE. It has hybrid GSM, and it's a CDMA world phone, as you like to call it. Wi-Fi is going to be pretty much the same thing. The iPhone 5 is actually a dual band, 802.11 A, B, G, and N, and the iPhone 4S is just 802.11 B, G, and N. It just doesn't have the A. Anyways, but the A is kind of old anyways. So Bluetooth, iPhone 5 is going to have Bluetooth 4.0, but it's not going to have NFC. That's very unfortunate. The iPhone 4S has the exact same thing, Bluetooth 4.0. In terms of sensors, they have the exact same thing: accelerometers, digital compass, and I believe a gyroscope as well. And navigation, exact same thing. All the features there, GPS and sorts of stuff. FaceTime. iPhone 5 is actually capable of doing FaceTime over cellular now, but iPhone 4 was only Wi-Fi, and that was on iOS 5. So The iPhone 5 is going to be capable of doing Wi-Fi as in addition to cellular, but you may have to get a cellular plan. So this again shouldn't be another another deciding factor. In terms of SIM card support, we're not too sure. Apple never really revealed that during their press conference, but the iPhone 4S has a micro SIM. And in terms of battery life, which should be another major aspect for you guys, let's go over the iPhone 5 first, and then I'll run through the iPhone 4S. iPhone 5, 8 hours of talk time on 3G, 8 hours of data on 3G, 8 hours of data on LTE, 10 hours if you're only going to use Wi-Fi, 40 hours if you're doing audio, and 10 hours if you're doing video. And if you're going to stand by, it's going to be 225 hours. The iPhone 4 is going to be 8 hours of talk time on 3G, same thing. 14 hours of talk time on 2G, which Apple never really talked about. 6 hours of data on 3G, the iPhone 5 is better. 9 hours of data on Wi-Fi, again, iPhone 5 is better. 40 hours on audio, tied up with iPhone 5. 10 hours on video, tied up again. And 200 hours on standby. It's a bit lower than the iPhone 5. So in terms of battery life, iPhone 5 definitely destroys the iPhone 4S. And now in terms of weight, it's really nice to see that the iPhone 5 weighs much less than the iPhone 4S, considering that it's completely made out of aluminum and glass. So it's going to weigh in 112 grams, which is around 3.9 ounces, I believe. I'm not sure. I'm from Canada, so I'm fine with grams. Anyways, the iPhone 4S came in 140 grams. Dimensions, the iPhone 4, Apple never really unveiled the length and the width, but we do know how thick it is, and that is 7.6 millimeters thin, and that is a very, very thin smartphone. I believe it's the thinnest smartphone on the market right now, and the iPhone 4S is actually 115.2 by 56.6 by 9.3 millimeters. So you can see, I believe that's like 18%, 22%, whatever it is. It's a lot thinner than the iPhone 4S. Colors will be available in black and white. The iPhone 5 will be available, like I said, in aluminum and glass only, and there's a bit of differences in terms of which color you get of the feel of the aluminum, but that doesn't really matter. iPhone 4S was also black and white. So now, which smartphone should you get? Of course, considering that the iPhone 4S is now only $99 on contract compared to $199 on contract, which phone do I think you should get? Of course, I still say go with the iPhone 5. It's a really nice advancement. When we were doing the video about iPhone 4 versus iPhone 4S, at least I remember doing that video, I said don't get the iPhone 4S. iPhone 4 should do you good until the iPhone 5, but now I'm saying definitely upgrade to the iPhone 5. Even if you do have the iPhone 4S, if you have the iPhone 4, definitely upgrade. If you have the 4S, it should be another viable option as well. I still think that you should upgrade. It's worth the extra $100 because you're getting a larger screen. The new, of course, the docking connectors may not be a good thing for some of you, but you're getting a faster processor, more RAM, you're getting better camera, supposedly. You're getting a better front-facing FaceTime HD camera. You're getting LTE, which is one of the biggest points, more battery life, a much thinner smartphone. So I definitely recommend going with the iPhone 5 if you're still deciding on which smartphone to get. But anyways, that's it for this video. I might do a comparison with Android smartphones like this, and then of course once iPhone 5 releases on September 21st, 2012, I will be doing my hands-on coverage, actually comparing it, making a video of myself comparing it to the Galaxy S3, which is kind of the top of the line Android smartphone, or the most sold Android smartphone. So I'm going to be comparing it to that one. And I guess I'm going to be doing an unboxing review and all sorts of things on the iPhone 5, so stay tuned for that as well. Definitely subscribe to Play Infinite. It's a good time to be a subscriber to Play Infinite because I'm doing a lot more iPhone 5 coverage to come. If you want to know more specs about the iPhone 5, more details, definitely check out my iPhone 5 unveiled video. I went over all that. I'm going to make another video talking about the carriers. I'm going to talk about the camera, the dock connector. I'm going to make tons of different videos, iOS 6, so definitely stay tuned for that. Oh, I shall also mention iPhone 5 comes to iOS 6, whereas iPhone 5 4S obviously still stuck at iOS 5 right now. But I think you can get the beta and stuff like that, and iOS 6 will be available. I think it's September 19th or something for the iPhone 4S. Anyways, I'll make a video on that. I'll bring you all the details, so definitely subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Peace.